Hello and welcome to our channel. This is a two-part video series. This is part 2. Link to part 1 can be found somewhere here or in the description box below. In part 1, we talked about the eligibility criteria that a sponsor and the applicant to fulfill and what are the forms that are applicable to both of these parties. In this video, I am going to walk you through what are the supporting documents that are required that proves your relationship is genuine. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to our channel. On this channel, me and my wife aim to bring out some informational content around our experience in settling down in Canada. This is one of the most important part of the application, which is a deciding factor when your application is processed by an immigration officer. Going back to the checklist that we are referring, if we see question 7a, which says, are you and your spouse living together? So in my case, since I was living in Canada and my wife was in India, we selected no. But if you say no, then you are going to provide proof which says you have had or you are still in contact with your spouse, and also the proof of visit to each other. Let's talk about proof of contact. Now, according to the checklist, you are supposed to provide maximum of 10 pages that proves that you are in contact with each other. Now, in this case, it can be letters, it can be email conversations, it can be social media conversations that you have had, or it can also be the call logs. It is not necessary that this needs to happen after you got married. When it comes to proof of contact, you can provide all documents that can prove that you have been in contact with each other right from the start of your relationship or even after you got married, if it is an arranged marriage. These conversations between you and your spouse can be from any point in time. If I wear hat of an immigration officer, I would be looking at conversations which proves that these two individuals are in love with each other. So you have to dig out some old conversations right from the time when you met. We had communicated with each other over chats and over emails, and also we had written some letters to each other. I provided the chat conversation in a specific timeline. So if I have conversed with my wife in, let's say, 2015, I had provided a WhatsApp chat. Then there was a conversation that I found which was more relevant and which was more appealing, and the conversation also was all in English. I provided that from a Facebook Messenger. So it could be a different platforms all tied up together, but if it is in a given timeline, it would really make sense. So we interacted over Hangouts, LinkedIn, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, FaceTime call logs. I provided all of these in these 10 pages. So I consolidated the letters that I had written in 3 pages, and I also provided the chat conversations with 4 screenshots on 1 page and completed total of 10 pages. So 3 pages of letters and 7 pages of the screenshots. Now the next question would be what type of conversations we are looking at. I would really say that if it makes an individual believe that you were in a relationship. For example, let's say you are planning to buy a house together and this is something that you have discussed, or maybe you were doing some wedding planning and this is something you had discussed, or you had some family planning that you want to do. There are a lot of things that can be discussed between two individuals who are really in relationship together. Those conversations will really add a lot of value, and anyone who is in a relationship would know that there are also times when you call by each other by some names. So we had some screenshot in which we were using some names to call out each other. Now mind you, if these conversations are in English or French, then you are all good. But if it is something which is at length talked about in a different language, then I would really recommend you to get it translated as per the directions in the complete guide. So we digged out conversation that was specifically conversed in English, and we just skipped out all the non-English conversations. I would give a pro tip here. If you are finding it difficult to get the right screenshot and the right conversations, do not only rely on the phone applications for the conversation that you are getting a screenshot of. You can also go to the desktop applications. For example, let's say you are going to web-based application of Facebook Messenger. You might have a better conversation built than a smaller phone window. So try this out and make sure that you are providing the right conversations. Another thing that I would like to share while I was doing my research was that there are people who are recommending you to provide more than 10 pages. I will strongly detest from this particular opinion. If the checklist says that you have to provide a maximum of 10 pages, make sure you're only providing maximum of 10 pages. And these pages has to be just one side of the paper. It cannot be one paper on both the sides and you are providing 10 papers. It will be 20 pages. It's also important to note that this application set will be scanned by the immigration officer in their systems. Now, if you would know, scanning both sides of the pages is going to be a big headache for anyone. So let us make someone's life easy. How you can do that? Just print every single thing on just one side of the paper, which is going to be counted as that one page. So now let's talk about proof of sponsors visit. Now this is something which I had a lot of questions about. If I can just simply put it this way, you have to just prove that when you were not living together, you have made efforts to meet each other on certain time periods. Now this could have been really difficult if it was a COVID period, but the good thing is you can provide proof that you had visited each other even before you got married or before you got into a relationship. You need to provide documented proof that you have actually traveled together and stayed at some place. The proof of travel could be a boarding pass, the hotel accommodations, exit and entry stamps if it was an international travel. All of these when combined and looked at together would prove that you have traveled and visited each other. It is not always necessary that the sponsor visits the spouse. It can also be the vice versa. It's just that you have to prove that you have been in contact when you were not together. The checklist clearly says the proof of travel has to be a boarding pass. Your booking confirmation cannot be considered as a proof that you have actually traveled. Your boarding pass with the seat number is the final proof. If you have still retained your boarding passes, then nothing better than that. Or you have the boarding passes from your online web check-ins, even that is great. I have a second pro tip for you. What if you do not have the boarding passes? The best alternative that you can provide in this case is a travel certificate. The travel certificate is something that the airline is going to provide you in which you had traveled. For this, you can go out to that specific airline's website, see if they are providing the travel certificate. You will have to provide them the PNR number or the booking confirmation number or the name of the passenger who have traveled, and there would be some fees associated with it. Based on that, they are going to process and give you the travel certificate. So in my case, in India, I got a travel certificate issued from Indigo Airlines, and they were able to give that certificate in a period of 5 days. So that was a proof that I attached in the application set and sent it. When it comes to hotel reservation confirmation, it will be really great if you have both of your names on the reservations instead of just that primary guest plus one. There might be multiple situations wherein you might not be able to provide proof of sponsors visit. Let's say you never had a relationship history and you got married and you came as a resident, you came to Canada. Or it could be you have traveled together, but it has not been via an airlines or via train journey, but it is via road. Then proving that you have traveled together might be difficult. In such cases, you can provide a letter of explanation on why you are not able to provide proof of sponsors visit. So now let's jump to the most interesting and happy part of the application, getting 20 photographs. Here you will find a lot of different opinions. There are individuals who will suggest that put a collage of different photographs all in one and then give 20 photographs, or put all the photographs in one Word file and then count one Word page as one photograph. Since we were doing the entire application ourselves, we did not want to take chances. So we just stick with the standard golden rule. 20 photographs simply means 20 photographs. And our application got successfully processed without any hiccups. The only thing that you need to make sure if you're providing just 20 photographs is get the right photographs. For example, if you are having an Indian wedding, there is no point in providing 6-7 different photographs from different events. It would not really matter. Just have 1 or 2 photographs which shows a lot of different families in best of their attire, and that should work. And it will be great if those guests or who are the family or the friends are showing up in different photographs at different timelines. For example, in my case, I provided the photographs in a specific timeline. I started from the photograph in which we just had met. This clearly shows that we were much younger. And then we showed photographs from different trips that we had done along with our friends and family. We also showed a photograph of life events like buying our own car, entering our new home, and getting engaged. So we also showed a photograph from our honeymoon. In that photograph, the iconic blue mosque of Istanbul was showing up. That actually was supporting our application and the story that we are building, that we had gone to honeymoon in Turkey. So if you're building a story on how you met, where have you been through, or where have you gone together, on the trips that you had done, and the family members they are included. If you can show up all this in 20 photographs, nothing better than that. It is important that behind every photograph, you write the name of the primary applicant, the date of birth of the primary applicant, and write a story about that particular photograph. This story could be, let's say we bought a house together, or talking about individuals who are showing up in these photographs and are also showing up in the other photographs. Also, it will be great if you can number those photographs from 1 to 20. This would be helpful if you are providing a reference of one of these photographs in the later section of the application. I'm also going to give you one more pro tip, but this is something that I'm going to give you when we come to the section of testimonials. After submitting photographs, the checklist would ask you provide at least 2 of the 4 following items. In here it says provide at least 2, so I would strongly recommend please provide more than 2. Referring to the first checkbox, in my case, I provided insurance premium certificates in which my wife was showing up as a beneficiary in the plan. I also provided medical insurances that we had bought together as a husband and wife. The other most important document which can really prove that you are recognized as each other's spouse is a passport. So I would strongly recommend that if you have got married or if you are in a recognized relationship together, get your spouse's name updated in your passports. So for example, in my passport, my wife's name is showing up, and also in my wife's passport, my name is showing up as her spouse. This is going to support your case because passport is considered to be one of the most important documents. The next checkbox talks about financial transactions or financial support between you and your spouse. If there has been a financial transaction which shows that you are supporting each other when it comes to financial matters, it is going to be a big support for your application. However, in our case, I was a working individual and so was my wife. We never had the need for having any financial transaction between us, but in the past we have exchanged some costly gifts with one another. Since these were some costly gifts, we provided some invoices and receipts showing the name of the individuals to whom we had submitted, along with a letter of explanation on why we were not showing any financial support, but we were showing some exchange of costly items between us. Coming to the second checkbox, this is an opportunity for you to reach out to the friends and family who can vouch your relationship to be a genuine relationship. In our case, we reached out to our friends and our closest family members and asked for their testimonial letters. It was not easy for them to provide these letters because it really needs for them to think and spend a lot of time. So maybe you can help them out on what exactly should the content of those letters be. It will be great if you can ask them to provide these letters from their primary email IDs, and along with those letters, ask for their identity proofs. So for example, we have a friend from US who came to our wedding. We asked for the testimonial letter, and along with the testimonial letter, he provided his driving license. This brings me to the pro tip that I was talking about in the photograph section. If you are getting these testimonials from someone who is showing up in those photographs, try to explain this particular point in those photographs on the back side that you have secured a testimonial letter from this individual and this has been provided in the later section of the application. This would help the immigration officer to connect the dots that there are individuals who are showing up in photographs and these are the same individuals who have provided letter of testimonials, and there is a photo ID proof which can tie these two things together. In total, we had secured 4 testimonials, 2 from our friends and 2 from our family members. And all of these letters were sent to the primary applicant's email ID from the primary email of the individual who is sending the letter. There is no specification on what that letter should contain, or how many words it should be, or how many pages it should be. It should just be supporting yours to be a genuine relationship. Besides these testimonials, you can also provide snippets from your social media posts. I am not on Facebook, and my wife is also not too much active on Facebook, but we still had some photographs that we had shared when we got engaged and when we got married. When we took the screenshots of the social media posts, we made sure that we are including the comments and the likes of the social media posts. That was actually helping us to prove that our relationship was recognized by individuals on our social medias as well. Next comes the proof of cohabitation. This is going to be applicable only if you have lived together. If you have not lived together, then you might want to focus on the other 3 checkboxes. Giving you our example, when we got married, we moved to a rented accommodation, and in the tenancy agreement, we had both of our names on it. And our names were also showing up on some of the utility bills. We have gone through all the items that are provided in the checklist, but there are some additional documents that you can still provide. There is a form that a sponsor and applicant should provide, which is called IMM 5532. There is a section in that form that gives you the opportunity to provide some extra documents which are not even asked in the checklists. This is a pro tip. Try to make use of this section and provide as many relationship supporting documents that you can provide besides whatever is mentioned in the checklist. For example, you can provide a cover letter which states your relationship history, how it started, how it has grown over time, where do you see both of you together settled in a new country, and how you want to take your relationship forward. Also, why it is important for you guys to live together. Now here it could be anything that can prove that your relationship is a genuine relationship. Giving you our example, we provided photocopy of the wedding invitation cards, the booking confirmation of the wedding venue, hotel confirmation of the guests that we accommodated during our engagement ceremony, and some receipts of the gifts and flowers that we exchanged during the entire course of our relationship. This was all that we provided in our application package, and our application was processed successfully without requesting any additional documents, nor our application was returned for any missing document. So this brings us to the end of the video. If you want us to bring out some more videos around this topic, then please like this video and put down in your comments on what you would like to watch next. Also, it will be great if you can share our video with your family members and friends who are going through this application process. We really hope and pray that your application goes through smooth and you be with your loved one as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel.